parents die in a car wreck. A week or so later, I'm laying in bed, crying myself to sleep as usual. Hear a creak on the floor outside my room and giggling. My dog perks up and starts growling like crazy. My mom slowly leans around the corner of the door. She looks different, and her movements are all wrong, jerky and twitchy. Go to sleep, Anon, it'll all be better soon. It's her voice, but sounds clotted somehow. My blood is ice water. My dog is whimpering and cowering now. Mom jerks back around the door. Another creak. My dad leans around the corner. It's okay, son. We're gonna be a family again soon. Just fall asleep. Giggles. Like my mom, his movements are all spastic and effed up. His face is a grinning rictus. He jerks his head back out of sight. My heart is pounding. Quickly and quietly as I can, I grab my phone and dial 911 to report a home invasion at my address. I can hear movement and that insane giggling from the hallway. I'm laying there with tears rolling down my face from fear. I don't know how long it was until I saw flashing lights outside the house and muffled shouts, hurried movement in the hallway. Something crashes to the ground, muffled shouts from downstairs as the cops come through the front door. Thank you, God. They search the house and afterward a cop approaches me white as a sheet. Anon, it's hard to tell you this, but we found your parents' faces on the ground outside. That was almost 10 years ago. They never found the sick Fs that did it, and I still have nightmares.
Okay, dunno how to green text and I'm old. Anyway, as a kid I frequently had nightmares. Bad ones, from the age of 1 to 12 more or less. Apparently my first experience mother told me this was that as a baby I would not stop crying until she removed a vintage clown stuffy from my room. That was just a side note. This part is what happened regularly. Lived in smaller town, in a log house built by oil companies 60 years ago for working residents. Kinda creepy to begin with, very dark, had a cold storage room, and one room that never had anything in it. Just bare brick foundation walls and some crappy 60s flat carpet. Now, every few nights I would have these nightmares. Christian family, so we would pray and I would go to sleep happy as a pig in poop. I was told by my pastor that I was very sensitive to the supernatural world. This was just something I eventually got over, had my nightmare, prayed, fell back asleep, although uneasy. This is where it got weird. My sliding closet doors seemed to open just a few inches in the night. I would see dark figures. Now I'm a kid, so I was aware that this could just be light playing tricks. Big window to let in moonlight and all. Then it got more intense. Several years, randomly, every few months, my bed would shake. Not like a gentle vibration from heart racing, but legit off the frame, side to side, up and down shake. I would hold on for dear life to my sheets, mustering up the courage to speak out loud and pray. It would last for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, as long as it took me to actually be able to utter words from fear. We moved when I was about 12 and a half to a new home. That's when I found out hardcore Christian, keep in mind that the back basement room I spoke of housed a rather large and aggressive demon summoned by witches we confirmed with a former warlock who converted to Christianity in my church. He knew them, so that was a fun childhood.
Sitting downstairs watching TV. Hear sister shout my name from upstairs. Call out to let her know I was downstairs. She runs down screaming, saying I was sitting on my bed in my room just staring at the floor. Few years later, after sis and me swap bedrooms, go to walk downstairs. See sister sitting on her bed. Speak to her. She doesn't look up from the floor. Go downstairs. Actual sister is in the kitchen. That house was effing haunted for real, and that room in particular was off the charts freaky energy.
Okay, this is a pretty effing lame story in comparison to most others. Be me, 15. Have 3 friends over one night. Playing vidya, eating pizza, drinking beers, and smoking weed. We decide to go for a walk to get snacks because we stoned. It's not too late, so shops will be open. We decide to explore underneath this bridge where drain water comes through. We get under the bridge and are hanging out acting like retards playing with old graffiti cans. I look up and vividly remember this. The bridge was about 4 to 8 meters above the drains. It's dark, but I can see him. There's a man hanging from a rope. He's dead. My heart skips a beat and I begin internally freaking out. I swear to God he's dead, but his eyes are looking right at me. He's pale, wearing a suit and just hanging from under the bridge. Dude, what the frick? My friends notice I'm looking at the body and freak out. It gets really eerie under that bridge. The water drain doesn't get any light from the road and it's basically pitch black 6 feet ahead of you in all directions. We book it. We didn't even get snacks. We just ran all the way home. Back at mine, we're just in my room talking quietly even though we're home alone. I've never been so shaken up in my life. Never seen a dead body before. One friend broke down crying and called his mom to get picked up and go home. The three of us can't sleep, so we stay up all night, watching dumb comedies until we pass out. Next morning, we eat breakfast and decide to head back and call the police. We walk to the bridge and go under it again. The body's gone. Weirdest part, though, was that there wasn't anything on the news about it. No missing persons, no dead bodies, no crimes reported. It's like it never happened. I never mentioned it to my parents, but I wish I did. I was just so scared, though. I still have dreams where I'm walking late at night and I find his body again. I hate these dreams. I always see him in my dreams.
I went to middle and high school in this tiny Texas town that had more fields than buildings. It was a really spread out town with nothing but cows and old decrepit houses. Only had one gas station, school district, and like 3 restaurants. I lived out in a kind of old house pretty far from the school, meaning there was a lot of fields I could just kind of walk in. I'd walk to all the abandoned houses and stuff just to kind of explore and see. I was a dumb teenager, and it seems like a smart idea. I took a big stick with me, and naturally that was enough. I had a house I really liked because it had tons of bees in it. They had made the walls into their hive, and it was really cool. Bees are cute, don't at me. It also had some books, quote, mostly history textbooks for some reason, and a ton of burnt-out candles and old dried torn towels. I took a friend out with me once to show him the bee house, and I noticed that for once, some of the stuff was moved around. I wasn't too spooked. We had a lot of immigrants from Mexico pass through, so I figured it was just that. But it felt weird. The candles were picked up and moved to another room as if they were all just thrown in the corner. The bees had also moved. I was just in there a few days ago, but I realized then that the bees were never in the same room as the candles. Might have been that they didn't like the smoke or whatever. There were a few spiral notebooks now, with some blood and feces on them, and they just said rise, 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 and some in minds beyond. There were a few shovels that I didn't think were there before. As much as I loved the bees, I didn't go back there. For some reason, this spooked me. My friend stole a history book from there, and I remember he showed me that several pages had X's crossing out historical events. I didn't like that he took the book and asked that he put it back, but he said he burned it in his fire pit. I do remember that we had some bees make a hive near our house some months after that.